So what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel once again. You know, I appreciate having you here back in the garage. Just in case you want one of these are available on my website. Cheeky little bit of promotion there. It's not a cup of coffee or tea, it's just a glass of water, but I haven't got a cup with my name on it, but I do have a mug. No, not this, that. Also available on the website, no, not a pair of moobs, this fish hoodie. Yep. Got a t-shirt as well where all the profits go to the air ambulance, and also stickers. I think that's it. Go and check it out. I'll leave a link on the screen and one in the description. If you do like these videos, don't forget to subscribe. It's quite simple. Just click that subscribe button, completely free, and you can have more of this ridiculous stuff that I do on YouTube. For those of you that have watched the channel before, you will know by now, I'm by no means an expert. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. This is the first time I've done this one as well. So most of the time you'll see me do stuff, it's the first time I've done it. Unless it's a basic service or something like that, I do that on my bikes. But changing stuff like what I'm doing today, I haven't done before. I changed the suspension on the Super Cup, but that was just a 4-bolt job on and off, and then we got into the complications. But with this one, I'm not changing the whole rear suspension. What I'm doing is changing just the rear shock for this beautiful purple number. This beauty here will take a lot more weight. This will make it more stable, not so spongy on the back end. Because if you are a CRF owner of the L or the Rally, you will know it's saggy. Yes, that's right. This is not the only thing that's saggy. That is too. So let's get on and try and fix it. Right, so before we get into stripping it down and getting on with it, basically, I'll run you through some of the stuff I've got. Most importantly, the cup, obviously, we've discussed that. I've got one of these, which is a Honda Rally and 250L factory service manual. And it's got all the bits and bobs that you need to know about these bikes. We've also got this, which is a spring tool to compress the spring. Because obviously you can't put it in like that. You've got to... which I can't do. So we've got a tool, and I don't mean me. We've got a torque wrench as well. That's for the end bit when we tighten everything up. I've also got a small, beautifully laid out toolkit, and a bigger one with socket set in and all the bits I need to strip this down. And of course, gloves. Let's put those on first.
Clear out the room, I'm coming through, they wanna see what I'm about. Yeah, I got skills, do it for the thrill, I'm on a paper route. Extra, read about it, I'm today's trending topic. I put commas over bullshit.
So now we've got all the gear and no idea, let's crack on. And in the service manual, this thing here, it says I've got to take the rear subframe off, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the seat off the side panels, see where we are, see if we can get away without taking the rear subframe off, because that seems like an awful lot of work just to get to one bolt. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is take off the seat. Just 2 bolts. Now we're going to undo that bolt and that bolt. I don't know if you can see it, you can't see that bolt, but that bolt, and then take this panel off. There's a little popper in there. I'll take that one off. I think that's a popper. And there you go, that's the side off. Absolutely filthy. Let me just cut to the phone and I'll show you how dirty it is under there. I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed because I'm going to show you, aren't I? So I can't be that embarrassed, but it is kind of embarrassing. But it is an off-road bike. I use it 90% off-road, so bear that in mind. But it is pretty disgusting. Actually, this seat hasn't been off since the last time I crashed, which was in that massive puddle. Trying to get a rock here. Oh, mother. Mother. Oh, that's one bust rest. Oh, that's a deep hole. We do need to take this off. I'm going to take this off just to get to the top of the shock. I don't know if you can see in there, but that is definitely in the way. So let's go that side. What's up? Just for reference, I'm not short. This bike is on a lift. I'm 6'2". I'm not 2'2". Just pointing that out. Again, just the two poppers. A little clip up this end. And then freedom. I don't know if you can see that in there. Let me see if I can get that in there nice and close. Basically, where are we going? It's very hard to see, but I've got to get in there somehow. There she is, that little bolt there. Can you see her just there? I've got to get in there somehow and undo that. So I see why they say take this whole subframe off, but the subframe is bolted there and obviously up there. So all that would have to come off. I'm not prepared to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little battery out here, and that should free up this space here. In theory, we're going to find out. I know I bought the manual and I'm completely ignoring it, but I'm trying to use a bit of logic now. That doesn't usually go well for me. What I'm going to do is bring you guys around this side so you can see what I'm actually up to. Because it's all right me telling you, but if you don't see it, you don't believe it. That's the way YouTube works. Right, so here we are around this side, so you guys know what I'm talking about. What I'm going to do is take this battery box out, and I'm going to try and unclip that, and hopefully the wires are long enough so I can just get it out of the way so I can get in there to that screw. Should I be doing that on camera? So what I'm going to do is disconnect these, and then hopefully I can get straight through. With a little bit of manipulation, we can get through to the other side. That bit might be the bit in the way. Just this little bit here. I only need to get to that nut at the back there. So what I'm going to do is disconnect the old negative there. Let's not be negative. Let's be positive. No one promised you any classy humour. I'm going to disconnect both. Right, you two stay over there. You little beauty, come to Papa. Look at that. What a cute little battery. You're so cute. Right, now let's have another little look. Let's see if I can force this out of the way. It's gonna be awkward. This is in the way. How's this held on? Oh my God, it's one big bit. It said take off the subframe. I'm beginning to think I might have to do that. It's literally right there. I can see it, but I can't do anything about it. This is so overcomplicated. It's basically blocked by this piece of plastic holding this on. This is attached to this. So they say you've got to take the subframe off just to get to that bolt. How ridiculous is that? That's mind-blowingly stupid. You know, when you take your time to just stop and think, things become a little bit easier. That fits up right. It's tricky, but it fits up. So all that faffing around, I didn't really need to take the battery out, but it's out now, and it actually does give me more clearance. So it's not an issue. I probably would have taken the battery out anyway, but I'm glad I didn't start cutting. I know I'm into cutting at the moment, and I just want to cut stuff up and just use tools. But yeah, this seems to fit. A little bit fiddly, but we're on there. Right, so you can see that on there. It's going to work. It might not be so easy when I'm putting it back, but at least we've cured this problem with no major dramas, apart from my stupidity for not going the simple route in the first place. As I've said before, at no point am I professional at this. You might have guessed this. This is us going through it together. Well, it's me going through it and then showing you where I go right and where I go wrong. I'm learning. As I said on many videos, that there's no point in just leaving all this crap out, this thought process, the looking, the what we're going to do, the problem solving, and just going straight to, oh, look at me, I'm great. We all do this. We all have to learn. This is real world garage shit, people. Emphasis on the shit. Right, so we're back on this side. I've got a 15mm socket, 17 on the other side. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, that's a very sexual noise then, wasn't it? Oh, that's bang on the other side's wedged nicely. was wedged nicely. Right, let's go around and pick that up. Right, so that's undone now, so let's crack on with the bottom bit. I'm going to take it completely apart. There's one bolt there, one bolt there, one bolt there, and the bottom of the suspension is here. I'm going to take all these off because I want to take the bolts out and then give them a little bit of copper grease, because this bike is having a hard life, especially with me riding it. Not that I'm a good rider, I just take it in some disgustingly bad places, and this is still factory as it is, so I'm guessing the grease inside here is pretty non-existent. So I just want to take all that out while I'm here and then grease it. Just take the little brake pedal activation spring off. I don't think that's the technical term. Just rest that there. That's that out the way. Jeez Louise. Much easier doing all this stuff when you're not filming. Come to Papa. Sorry, just going to have to lift this up a little bit. Just makes life a little bit easier. And as you can see, absolutely no grease on that whatsoever. So I'm going to leave this hanging there because it's still in the bolt here, so that's all safe, that's not going anywhere. I'm going to do the shock first, then I'm going to tidy this area up before I put the shock back. Right, so let's give that a turn. And then hopefully that wedge up against there, give me a little bit more leverage. Oh, there we go. Again, as you can see, absolutely no grease on that one. I have got to take this one off after all because of the clearance here. I can't drop the shock down with this one on, so let's whip that one off. Again, no grease. Just pop that bolt back on there so I don't lose it. Then, just need to pop the top bolt out. In my mind, this was going to be a nice easy job. And then we'll slide that beauty out. And there she is, in all her glory. We finally got it out. Shocking, we've done it. So here we are over at the bench, and all we've got to figure out is how to get this onto this. I've never taken a spring off a shock before, so it's all a learning curve. We're gonna use these to compress the spring, and then we'll see if we can get the end off somehow to just take the spring off. I'm not sure how it's done. It's probably easy. I'm probably overthinking it. I'm probably making it more dramatic than it needs to be. We shall find out. I did that with that. I made that so dramatic when basically I could just slip a spanner up. So expect the worst, hope for the best. In the vise. So let's crack on with it. Let's work out how this compression tool works. I mean, I know how it works. It squashes it. But let's see how easy it is to use. I think this one's designed for cars because it's a bit big, so I can only get one hook over each end. So the end of that sits in there just to tighten it up. Just remember, safety tip, if you are doing this, do not put your face above the spring. When it's compressed, if it does break or let go, it's going up, and that's right. Straight in your mush. It's not going to be a good thing, that. Trust me. Right, so let's give this some compression. Again, this is not going as planned. You've probably done this loads of times and you're looking at this going, what are you doing, you idiot? You don't do it like that. And it seems not. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen it off and have a good look at it. That's what I'm going to do. I rushed then. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I got excited. So let's loosen it off and have a good look. Right, so this is the stage we're at the moment. Compressed, was doing it right, but this end here, this nut and this bit here have seized. They're seized so tightly that I've even bent that trying to get it off, because what you do, put that through there, put that on the nut, and then that should spin off. But for love nor money, that's not coming off. So I've sprayed it with WD-40, that didn't work. I've used brute strength, that didn't work. So this is a bit of a tip at the moment. I don't give many tips, and you probably shouldn't take tips from me, judging by the state of my bike. But when you get a bike and you're going to do green laning and off-roading, take it to bits when you first get it and copper grease everything. Grease all the nuts and bolts. That way, when you get to do something like this, you don't get yourself into this situation. It doesn't become a massive pain in the arse just because I didn't do it at the beginning. Now, I didn't know to do it at the beginning. I've learnt this since. I probably could have done this about a year ago, so I've got no excuses, but I didn't do it. Just laziness. But this is what happens when you don't. You've seen the bolts, they get really, really tight, and this is after only, I think I've only done 3,000 miles or 2,500 miles on this thing. Mainly off-road, a lot of it off-road. When you get the bike, if it's an off-road bike, take it to bits, copper grease everything. Grease everything. Apart from the brakes, never do that. That's never good. So, what we're going to do. Right, so off camera, what I've done is I stopped filming, then I got really angry, started swearing a lot, and I brought out the big guns, some hammers. This is expendable, so I didn't care if this broke. That went through there. That went onto the nut like so, and then with just pure frustration and anger I smashed the crap out of that, and eventually the nut came loose. So whether that WD-40 started doing the job, I don't know. Look at that, it's off. Oh, now you can tell it's getting really cold now. It's quite late at night. It's about 2 degrees in here, but that getting that off has warmed my cockles. I wasn't going to give up. I was not going to give up. I was determined to do this. So let's get this spring off and change it to the next one. I think the ratchet is breaking as well. Yeah, ratchet's broken. Here we go. There we go. That is off. Out with the old, in with the new. So that's the 2 springs. Old one, new one. I didn't need to tell you that. I think you worked that out by now. But I'm going to clean all this up, clean that up. Grease the end of that. Make sure it's all greasy. But before I grease it, I'm just going to clean that up and then stick that one on. These should just spin, and there's no pressure on them. They should just spin. I can't put them back like that. I'm going to have to see if I can free them up, loosen them up, grease them up, and any other thing I can think of that ends in up. Right, so welcome back. I know to you it's been seconds, but to me it's been 15 hours since I last sat in this seat, probably more. And the reason for that was I was getting annoyed and basically running out of ideas. It's freezing cold in here. Last night it was about -6. So I've got no heating in the garage. I've got plenty of holes in the wall, so it's bloody cold. And yeah, I was just suffering, so I was getting annoyed. It was all going, not wrong, but it was getting on my nerves. So I cut it short. And what I did was, because these rings here, the suspension rings that go around this little bit here, the adjustments, they were stuck fast. So I soaked it in WD-40 overnight, came back. I haven't shown you how I've done this because there was a lot of hitting with hammers and swearing, but eventually they came loose. So we've got adjustment back on this. If I hadn't have been able to free those up, we'd have gone with a non-adjustable suspension, but they don't do a lot. I don't really play around with them too much, but it was just a mission. I just wanted to do it because they were seized. I just wanted to get them off. So I've cleaned them up. I'm going to run probably a little bit of grease round here just so they're not so what's the word, seized next time, because the shock on the back on a dirt bike gets a lot of crap on it. So that's all off now. The end bit's off now. It was an ordeal, I have to say. It was a massive pain in the arse, and I could have saved myself, as I've said before, a lot of heartache, a lot of stress basically, if I had just taken it apart and greased it when I first got the bike, but I didn't. So you live and learn from my mistakes. Don't copy me, just learn from the things I do wrong. This is not an educational video in the sense that you're going to learn anything from me, but you will learn what not to do. Right, I've given all of these little components here a little bit of a clean up. Bit of this on there, round there, then put these back on, and then we can squeeze this down and fit it onto here. That's much better than it was yesterday. I'm going to set this up about 2/3 down, because that's where I had the last suspension set up, so I want to keep it roughly the same so then I can get a good comparison. So now that's done, let's squash this spring. Back out with the clamps. Well, this is exciting. So this bit's the top, this bit's the bottom. If you imagine on the bike it spins round, so this bit clamps at the top, this bit is the clamp at the bottom. And this is where the problems happen. I can't get it on with these clamps on. Because that one was thinner, it clamped over and it didn't interfere with the main strut. But because this one's thicker, when it clamps over, it doesn't give as much clearance inside. So we've come to yet another problem. Look, plan what we're on now. E, D, who knows? Take the clamps off, put the spring on there, then clamp it while it's on there. So worth a try. Remember, I make these mistakes so you don't have to. If you believe that, you believe anything. Right, so now I've got the spring on the shaft. Leave it. I'm gonna compress it. I'm gonna put it down. Oh, sorry, that's camp it up. I'm gonna clamp it up. Always get confused. Well, that's not going to work, is it? It's going to one side. I need to clamp evenly down on both sides. That's not good, so I need to put even pressure on. I've kind of got them similar sides, so I need to hook one on here and then one on there, rather than one there and one there. Again, these are deliberate mistakes, just so you don't have to do them. I'm very kind to you, aren't I? There's probably an easier technique than this, if there is an easier technique. And don't just say buy the proper compression tool for this. If you have got one laying around, this is obviously for car springs. If you've only got this sort of thing, if there is a technique that's easier than what I'm doing, I'll probably guarantee there is, just drop it down in the comment section so people know. Again, it's just wandering around there. I'm a wanderer, I'm a wanderer. Sorry about that, I didn't realise the camera had run out there, the battery, so you missed a little bit in the middle. Nothing exciting, just me swearing at shock absorbers basically. What I've done now is I've clamped it up opposite sides. That seemed to get the best grip, and I've put the top on. It's not completely central as you can see, but hopefully when I release the shock, I'm going to release it slowly, then pull it over so then it sits in there. So I'm going to get this tight and then I'm going to try and line it all up. Just gave the nut a nice tight squeeze to lock it onto this. That whole unit moves, it moves the whole shaft, but that is a locking nut. To keep that secure, as I slacken it off, I should have more movement here. I should be able to just click it over using this as leverage and then get it straight. That's my theory anyway. Let's see if it works. Oh. It actually clicked into place, so there it is. It did work. So now we can undo these clamps fully. And there we have her. One new upgraded purple shock. Well, that wasn't hard, was it? We are now going to fit this beauty back on the CRF. I'm just going to hang it via the top bolt. I'm going to copper grease the top bolt, clean that up and put that through. Hopefully it's not as fiddly. Now I know kind of how to get my fingers in and what to do. We're going to shove that up there and then we're going to fiddle about with it to get it hanging off the top bolt, which sits in there. Then I'm going to clean up all this bottom linkage and then put that back, grease that up as well. Also going to copper grease the middle bit because it goes through the shock here. Right, let's see if we can see the hole through here. It's just getting the angle right with one hand to get the bolt through. Bit fiddly, but we got a dangler. So what I'm going to do is now put these on the other side. That's a 17, fits in there nicely. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of gaffer tape in there to hold the nut, and I put some Loctite on, not some Loctite, some nut lock Hopefully that will keep the washer on while I shove it up the other side, and then try from this side here to get my fingers over the top or around the back, and then just tighten it up from this side through into that. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't, does it? But anyway, let's get on with it. I don't know whether you've ever played that game Operation, but that's what this is like, trying to thread this spanner through without knocking the washer off. We're close, people. We are close. Let's stick the extension on this side. Then I can reach it. Right, that's all the way in. It's not torqued up to the specifications of the little book here. We're going to do that at the end, but it's in. Next thing I'm going to do is take this off. So I'm going to clean that up and grease it up. Grease that up and clean that up as well. Right, so there we go. All a little bit cleaner and nicer. Now let's grease them up and put them back. Going to start with this one. Make sure I put it in the right way. That always helps. So what I'm going to do now is copper grease this bit and put a little bit of lock nut on that bit. Make sure that's in line. That's out the other side. I'm going to do all these up finger tight, and then I'm going to torque them down. Next I'm going to do the bottom of the suspension. A little bit of that copper grease, and then again a little bit of nut lock. Goes through there. So now let's put this back on. Take the bolts off, grease them, lock it, you know how it goes, and then, yeah. You're not idiots, are you? Where's my little hammer? Give it some love taps. Right, so now I've got that one on, that one on, that one on. I just need to do this last one here. And that needs to be lined up. So I've got a ratchet strap on here. I'm going to ratchet it, and hopefully then that will line up. There we go. Let's just see if that goes through. Oh, we're so close. We are so close. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. That's the one. That's the one. Grease me up, baby. Grease me up. All on hand tight. Now I'm going to torque them up. Let me just show you what I'm going to do. This nut up here, that's 54 Newton meters. Down here, this is 44. This one's 44, and also this one here, 44 Newton meters. This one here, the one that attaches to the swing arm, is 74 Newton meters of torque. So I'm going to torque all those down. What I've done with the top one, because I can't reach the other side, just up here, I've gaffer taped or gorilla taped the spanner onto the nut. So it's in there and it's wedged on with the ring end, that end, and down the bottom, you can't really see it, but I've wedged it against the frame and then taped it in just to give me a little bit of purchase so the nut doesn't spin. And there we go. We will do the 344 Newton meters first, and then we'll do the 74 last. And now the last one before we let it down and test the sag. If I was to do this again in the future, I'd do this top one up first. Sorry, I'm going to have to get in your way. Booty shot maybe. All bolts now torqued up. It's done. It's done. God, that was a nightmare. But I've learnt a lot. Right, so now let's get it down. I'm not going to put the side panels on. I'm just going to rest the seat on, because what I'm going to do after this, don't worry, there's not going to be another video of the next bit I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is, because it's so filthy dirty, I'm going to just basically take it off panel by panel, clean under it, and then do some more stuff. Cleaning, maintenance, copper greasing, lock nutting, that sort of thing, but I'm not going to do a video on that. But for now, this shock is in. That's the biggest shock. This is in. Oh, yeah. Woo! That's right, I dabbed. So what I'm going to do now is lower the bike down, put the seat on, I'm just going to rest it, and then we're going to check the difference between the suspension sag, the old squishy, technical term there. But before we do all that, I'm just going to stick that reservoir back on and the little spring for the brake lever. that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, probably for all the wrong reasons, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Remember, this is not a tutorial. This is just a guy in a garage doing something for the first time, learning by his mistakes, hopefully, and just getting on with it, having a go basically. That's what this garage series is about. It's about having a go, not being afraid. Just do it. Yeah, things go wrong. I've got a new motto now, and I think the motto is going to be, I get things wrong so you guys don't have to. That's the basis of it. I'm having a go. I'm trying. We got there in the end. Yes, there's some things I did wrong. I think we all know that. But we're there now. The shock's on. The proof of the pudding's in the tasting. So I'm only going to really know when I'm out on the road giving that a go. But we are still in lockdown, so it's going to be a little while yet. But just sitting on it, yeah, feels much better. That's the end of the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Big thumbs up. A lot of you are probably going to give it a thumbs down, but give it a thumbs up for entertainment. You're not here because I'm good at this stuff. You should have learnt that by now. Right, so let's wrap it up. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to do all those things you need to do. Also, hit that notification bell so you guys can get the drop on these videos. There will be some more workshop stuff. Yes, I know. If you're a glutton for punishment, come back. I've still got lots of good stuff to go wrong yet. On that note, you know I love you all. Stay safe. Fish out. A Honda CRF250 RALLY factory. So we got the spring. So we got the... Right, first we're going to do... You're doing it again. It's only English. You know you can speak it. If you try hard enough, you can speak English. Right, so first thing we're going to... You obviously can't. And I'm putting the bolts on the mag... So let's take that off and tuck that out the way. As the man with a big penis says. So you're on the other side, I've just got to reach around like that. Oh, everyone likes to reach around. I'll cut that bit out. And yeah, I'm having it. As you've probably realised by now, I'm at... Right, so we're back on this side. I've got a 15... Right, so... Here, boy. How can I lose a 17mm spanner? Yeah, spanner. Just so I don't lose the parts. Take the shock off first, take it over to the bench, learn to speak English, and then we'll get back to the video. Hopefully. Right, so here we are over the bench, and all we got to do... Right, so we can just drop that on the floor. Purple spring. Look, I'm building a laser. I shall take over the world. Remember, I make these and remember the words. Remember the words. Even though you're making them up, remember them. Oh, it's all for your entertainment. These are my brain. If anyone watches this and gets inspiration, remember, I only do these videos for your inspiration. Have a go, do it yourself. And it takes 2 days to change a shock. I haven't even got it back on the bike yet. But we're going to do that now. Day of the word. Word of the day. Day of the word. What I'm going to do is copper grease this bit. What I'm going to do is copper... You're going to what? You're going to learn how to speak. 74 new meat. 74 what? Spanner's wedged in. That's wedged. We've done the shock. 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 We've done the what? We've done the shock. We've done the shock. Remember, this is not a tutorial. Obviously, it's not a tutorial in speaking, is it? Remember, this is not a tutorial. So I think the motto is there's too many is. You can't is. Did I get away with that? There's no one there. I don't know what I'm doing.
Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead, get gone. Get all your bags, get out my house. I don't want your stuff around. I never did you wrong, but you did me wrong. So go ahead and get gone.